That was just me trying to do it with better. So we put recently like who, what, and why, right? It was my it's just going to go into Here's where the problems and same thing. Stats and stuff.
What's that?
I joke about it.
They come Thursday?
Good, how are you?
There are snacks right there.
Good, how are you?
You like lighting sound guys?
Yeah.
How are you? Yes.
Yeah, what's up? You doing?
Good, how are you? Which one? 2? You're on 6. They're on, Kim.
Hey, welcome everybody. Glad you're here on this beautiful day. If you don't know me, I'm Beth Zimmer with the Innovation Collaborative. We were established a couple of years ago, starting here in Erie County, to help to catalyze an environment that is much more conducive to successful entrepreneurship on a lot of levels. So today, we are blessed and honored to have a group of entrepreneurs that just happen to be millennials or Gen Yers from all over northwestern Pennsylvania that are going to share their entrepreneurial journey with us, as well as answer one question for us each individually at the end, which is, what do we need to do in northwestern Pennsylvania in the future to ensure that our future is prosperous and progressive? So it's going to be fun, and then we're going to take Q&A afterwards. What else can I tell you? I started to say, we started initially in Erie County to catalyze an environment that's more conducive to entrepreneurship. We've had research done on all of the 8 counties in northwestern PA, and we were told by the experts that we have a lot of work to do to catch up with the rest of the country if we ever want to be economically competitive. And so getting to the southern counties and townships and municipalities has been a challenge so far. But luckily, we've been able to connect with the folks at Slippery Rock, the folks at the East Center in Hermitage, the East Center at Linden Point, as well as the folks at Butler Community College. And they were all very instrumental in putting this panel together, so thank you. If you're here from any of those organizations, would you mind please stand with me? I know we have Dr. John Golden from Slippery Rock, the Sustainable Enterprise Accelerator, Don Morrison, the board chair at the East Center at Linden Point. Dr. Newpower, and please remind me of your names from Butler Community College. Thank you. When you came in, there are snacks and such outside and drinks. There's a rule that we can't have any of that in here. So if you do feel thirsty or hungry, if you want to grab something with you real quick out there, you're more than welcome. To your left if you need those. We have Patrick Duda here, our wonderful facilitator or party leader. I'm going to tell you a few things about his background and then let him take over the event. Patrick currently leads information management for Erie Insurance's customer experience team. Specifically, he's responsible for maturing the use of data, content, and analytics to support digital experiences. Digital marketing efforts at Erie, traffic and lead generation through erieinsurance.com. Patrick has used his digital expertise for roles in consulting, trainings, and startup mentoring. Born and raised in Erie, Patrick is a strong advocate and friend for social and economic progress in the Erie community, and volunteers his time to several local nonprofit entities. He lives in Erie here with his wife Randy and his son. Congratulations to songs.
No problem. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? Lively audience today. Here are our sponsors. Thank you again for it. Here is an interesting photo of me with a template millennial and a cardigan. And here is this is our first group. But before we jump in, what I wanted to do is just talk a little bit about something millennial. I'm an entrepreneur, so I consider myself a born-again millennial, and I don't know really how that works. But I'm pretty sure I've been a millennial my whole life. Right? It's funny. A few years ago, when I started at Erie Insurance, I didn't really want to come across a little bit more older, more experienced, and thought that maybe if I acted a certain way or thought of being older, that'd be more opportunities for more responsibility or promotion. But I quickly learned, especially at Erie Insurance, that it's not necessarily about how old you are or where you are in the category you belong to. It's really about the entrepreneur inside you and the entrepreneur spirit that you possess in your day-to-day life. So, long story short, I've decided to embrace my Gen Y status. That's why I say I'm born again. And it's not because I'm afraid of getting old. I'm proud, 29, actually 31. But it's really because Gen Yers have they built a great reputation as being capable, passionate, and intelligent within the business arena. We care, we're willing to take risks, we're willing to do things because we love to do them, right? It's not always about the paycheck, it's about making a difference, it's about pursuing your dreams and your passions. And I think now more than ever, all different generations are recognizing the Gen Y that fall into that category. So that being said, what we have here is a great representation of that within this panel. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through to these groups. They're going to introduce themselves, give a quick rundown of who they are, what they do, and then we'll jump into some questions, and we'll let them discuss, and then we'll engage the audience. Sound fair? All right, let's jump into it. So first and foremost, from Butler, Pennsylvania, Dorothy and Lance Calvert from Brushes and Bar Schools.
Hi, I'm Dorothy Calvert. I am one of the owners and the lead artist there at Brushes and Bar Schools. We are a paint and sip studio located on our main street. Basically what we do is we bring you in, we teach you how to paint a painting, but it's all BYOB. So you're allowed to bring any drinks, food that you like, and during your session, you're able to learn basically how to create a masterpiece. We started this business because I wanted to own a business, and I liked art, so we kind of mixed the two together and tried to make something fun of it.
So I'm Lance, Dorothy's husband. We've been married for 6 years now, and 2 kids together. A little daughter, and we just had a boy back in September last. And I was in the Marine Corps for 5 years, and we used to live out in Seattle, Washington, which is what inspired us to actually open up this paint studio. It's a very, I think it's everything in Seattle, it's a very artsy city. We see people doing art in the parks, on the streets. So when we saw this concept on the West Coast, we wanted to bring it back to the East Coast, and my entrepreneurial spirit, I pushed Dorothy a lot until she finally agreed that it sounded like a good idea. So with me having no artistic abilities whatsoever, I Dorothy be the artist that she is, lead most of the art events, and we've actually been open up just over a year now. A lot of people have actually been our year mark, and we've been very successful down in Butler.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. Welcome. Some of us wish that this panel was but maybe next time. Okie dokie. David Teeny from Hot Lips.
Good morning, everyone. My name is David Teeny. I'm originally from Altoona, Pennsylvania. I'm currently a senior at Slippery Rock University, which is also where my business is located out of. I'm an inventor and founder of Hot Lips Instrumental Supplies. It is a music instrument accessory company. backstory is I'm a trumpet player, and about 4 years ago, I was marching, and the game that I was at was like 33 degrees and raining. And if you've ever tried to play a brass instrument, metal mouthpiece in the cold, really, it's a miserable time. So I decided to go home and buy a mouthpiece speaker. But to my surprise, they did not exist. So over the past 2.5 years, well, 2.5 years from there, I developed the product, and in the past 1.5 years, I actually released the product and began sales last September. It's been going quite well. This past spring, I won EA business plan competition, second place. So that's some seed money to start moving things along, picking up some, just trying to get the word out about the product and the business itself.
Great. Thank you, Dave, and welcome. All right, next we have Mr. JC from Emerson.
Hey guys, I'm originally from Elwood City, Pennsylvania. Yeah, small town, maybe about an hour and a half south of here. So my background is, so I've gone through a couple rounds of entrepreneurship. Actually worked in sales for HSBC around 2007 while going to school full-time at SRU. Obviously lost my job and figured out a better way to do mortgages. So I actually started a wholesale mortgage brokerage in 2008 during the downturn and ended up turning that into a pretty successful 5-year business. Scaled that out to starting an advertising business, got in the Google Engage program, did a little bit of social engineering, did some stuff out there. So that was a crazy ride, and actually parlayed that into going to grad school in New York City. Had some success in the advertising industry and marketing over there. Actually launched a big campaign that went the whole way to the Democratic National Convention in 2012. It's probably one of the catalysts that got legal travel to Cuba going. So that's actually what was crazy. And then probably about last year, I was able to secure a couple pretty decent consulting gigs in the city, and I started Hammersmith. So basically, what we are is a digital marketing and growth hacking business that basically supports growth businesses like these, or we work with a number of enterprise companies and that as well. So it's been a ride the past couple of years, and I'll give any sort of help I can to you guys or issues.
Great, thank you, Jason. Welcome. Right. Next, Chief Morgan.
Hello, everybody. So I'm from Teal College, and that's in Greenville, Pennsylvania. And I'm the co-founder of Vibrant City, Authentic, and Robust Tiny Houses, otherwise known as Hirt. And so what we specialize is building tiny houses on mobile trailers that are completely built with eco-friendly materials and energy-efficient appliances. So growing up, I was very conscious of the environment, drastic downshift that we were taking. And with that passion, I want to make a change in the eyes of the people in this region that even as humans can live in a way that is far more sustainable than what we do now. And that's a powerful thought. So a little bit about myself. I'm 19, so I have a whole lot of experience in entrepreneurial business, actual businesses. But I was fortunate enough to attend the Entrepreneurship Academy my senior year of high school. So this is a course for seniors from 10 different schools, and they attend a year-long program, 4 days a week. And the first half of this, students learn about so students they learn about they take extensive personality tests to figure out what makes them tick. They take extensive strength and weakness finders to find out the natural skills that they have as people. And throughout the entire year, they build upon that. The second half of the year, they're putting teams on board where they create businesses. So we did pitches, we met numerous CEOs, but during the same time, a good friend of mine introduced something to me called the law of attraction. So it's a theory that humans emit energy and vibration into the universe, and like a magnet, you receive the same vibrations that you're putting out. So, moral of the story is if you're always putting out positive thoughts, the reality that you see every day will be positive. Now, influencing that into my entrepreneurial thinking, I set goals for myself, and I see it in my mind. I'm a firm believer in meditating and other techniques such as destiny tuning and manifestation techniques to enable me to reach what I have reached today. So this past summer, I had an internship at the East Center, which is business incubator Hermitage. And during my time there, I started incubating my tiny house idea. And the East Center gave me an exponential amount of resources in terms of people with experience. So I met individuals from American Eagle, Under Armour, Microsoft, and all of these individuals gave me advice and guidance on how to be an entrepreneur the first time, how to do it right, how to make a statement and run with it. And from that experience, I have developed my tiny house idea in the past 4 months, and we are currently in the funding stages. So our first avenue is we're taking tiny houses for student housing starting with Teal College. So the students will live in a 4-year program, freshman to senior year. When they graduate college, they'll own their house. But over that 4-year period, they'll learn life skills such as financial responsibility, how to budget, the basics of cooking, a lot of skills similar to that of an Eagle Scout, and just skills that everybody I feel should know. And it's as sad as it is, a lot of people don't have these skills. So what we're doing is we're trying to benefit lives of students graduating from Midwestern Pennsylvania by giving something that they use other than just their degree. And tomorrow, I'm meeting the president of the college to discuss this idea. So it's a very exciting time.
All right, good one. Speak for everyone here. Your passion is definitely felt. Andrew, unfortunately, could not be with us today. So we will move past. Next up, we have Hirt Auditorium from Saba.
Hi everyone. My name is Hirt Auditorium. My parents are originally from Saudi Arabia. I moved here years and years ago. I started my mechanical engineer and mathematics degree, and from there I ended up working with American Express for 2 years. Was presented with the Global Network Services President's Award, which also granted me a full-ride scholarship to continue school in the States, and that's how I ended up moving here. I'm a full-time student at Yale University, studying accounting and risk management insurance. My startup is Taba, which was actually came to birth as a result from personal experience. A quick summary about Taba. It's an online platform that helps landlords and tenants to maintain a healthy and positive renting relationship, as well as facilitate all the needs throughout the life cycle of the renting process. And then such as repair requests, communication, broadcasting, online transaction, payment, and all that. The difference we always talk about in Taba is we're focused on guiding the process and giving a guidance with educational things to both landlords and tenants throughout the life cycle instead of giving a framework that allows them to kind of go and fill it out. We automate most of the jobs and provide guidance to the process. For inviting me over and look forward to this conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Last but not least, Faith.
Hello, I'm Faith Kindick. I'm the third president. I'm a recent graduate from Penn State Barron in Project and Supply Chain Management, and I'm starting an urban farm in Erie. So a little bit of the backstory, how I kind of came about this subject, because urban farming is kind of popping up throughout the United States and the world, actually. But I was taking some environmental classes at Penn State, and it kind of just threw me into this world of the chemicals that are in our food, how we grow it, industry. It's not a clean process. And the more research I did, I came across food deserts. And the more research I did, I found out that Erie has 10 food deserts, and 7 of them are in the city of Erie. So with that being said, 22,000 people in Erie are affected in these food desert areas. In case some of you don't know, a food desert is an area where 33% of the residents live 1 mile or more away from the nearest grocery store. I think that doesn't say that they don't live close to convenience stores, but convenience stores carry potato chips and cookies and everything that's really nice. So the idea came up. I was taking an entrepreneurship class, and I turned it in as an assignment. And my teacher, who's sitting back there, Professor Cosgrove, is awesome. But he said, "Are you serious about this?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, definitely." So he started helping me apply for the Ignite Erie grant, and by that kind of got saved money, and we then started on this road. And since then, the urban farming idea has kind of developed and has taken more concrete shape. So pretty much how we plan on attacking the food desert issue in Erie is by creating urban farms, so community gardens, buying up or adopting, I should say, adopting vacant lots, turning them into community gardens, doing an aeroponics greenhouse, and then transforming an old school bus into a mobile grocery store. By doing this, I feel like we can hit the different areas. We're not just stuck in one location. With a mobile grocery store, we can hit all the different areas. And along the way, we can teach classes about sustainability, how to prepare your own food, how to grow your own food, container gardening, and everything that goes along with it. So hopefully we can start alleviating this problem.
Very nice. Thank you very much. I will also second the awesomeness of Mr. Cosgrove back there. You can see that. Okay. All right, so let's get down to business, shall we? All right, so the question at large, right, the objective is, what must we do across the region to ensure a solid, growth-oriented future? So, that being said, there's a lot of ways to take that statement. What we want to do is make sure they give them a chance to put their spin on it really back to their experiences. So what I'd like to do is break this up into a few different sections before we go back and tackle the larger question at hand. Let's start with growth and future. What I'd like to do is start with and talk to us about what is growth for your future, what does that represent, what are the things that you're doing to ensure growth for
Obviously, paint the studio, we pretty much do one thing. Painting, people are coming in, drinking or eating, and having a good time, hopefully, when they're there. So as our job for growing, we have to make sure that we're doing things to keep people there and have them coming back. Our number one source of income is repeat customers. People are coming back, they're having a good time. And because we are not just doing paintings, but we're doing paintings that people find in homes. We're doing welcome signs, we're doing palettes that people want to paint, we're doing gifts for people. So basically when you're growing, you're always coming up with new ideas for your business that you think that your customers are going to like, or you take feedback from your customers and run with it. So for us, it's just basically changing what we're doing, improving on what we're doing, and then trying to keep the customers coming back for more reasons.
I'll add a little to that. So our target market for our business is 95%. So we've reached a good portion of that target market in our region. So now we have to figure out something for our first fiscal year of our business. We figured out what target market do we need to start targeting more for our business to grow at the same time. So now we're starting to focus more on, and at the same time it's 95% women, but it's women age 21 to 55. So now we're starting to target senior living homes. So where we actually go in and we provide a type of art therapy for these senior living homes for their clients. So we're actually trying to build more of a clientele, I guess is the word I'm looking for, sorry. So yeah, so it's always about finding your target market and then expanding on your business to try to reach a larger target market or a different geographical clientele. Sorry.
Thank you very much. All right. There was a lot of geological arts back in the day, Union Rock. Everyone remembers that. I wanted to throw over this question to Jason. So, Jason, you worked in the financial sector. You witnessed a little bit too fast growth, right? A little bit of a bubble. So you went through that, and then you went into your own business and started. So, for you specifically, being a part of corporate life, going to a small business, how do you think about the growth of your business? How it fits within the industry, and how do you reach that sustainability?
Sorry about that. That's what we said over here. That's the whole thing. I think that, I mean, because we work high technology, everything's changing so fast. So our ability to build efficient systems that are scalable, and then processes that will allow for limited or very efficient training, is what allows us to pivot and move fast. So I think that if you can build efficient systems and processes, and be able to break your business down to the point where you piecemeal all those different things out, and your ability to be able to pivot and move fast is much greater. So that's our main focus. My main focus. I mean, we're about a year old now, so but that first year, a big effort was making sure that we built all of our back-end infrastructure very efficiently and scalable. So I think that's really, I think that, so this is the marketing business we have now, but even when we had Centrix Capital, which was the mortgage business, that was a complete automated system. So we had, I mean, maybe most people don't know, I mean, there's something called MOOCs, like Massive Online Open Courses, I think it is, something like that. And yeah, so like 2011, I took a Python course on Udacity, and basically it teaches you how to like scrape data and then calculate it. And so, for the mortgage business, we basically built an aggregator to figure out what all the interest rates were for different wholesale lenders, and then I would pull all that in. I created this big network of wholesale lenders, and I could basically price out anybody all the time to get people the best loans. So that would be the first part. And the second thing that we did was I sourced out all of the processing. So whenever, I don't know if any of you have ever gotten a mortgage, but it's this long process. You got to fill out all the paperwork, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, the only thing that my guys would have to do is we would take the application. Everything else would be sourced out for very limited funds. We would come to the closing table, and because our operating costs were so much less, because we made a super efficient process, we would pass that savings over to our customers. And then bam. So I think the biggest thing is just making everything super efficient.
So thank you very much. Thanks for what I heard is you guys are always looking for new opportunities, ways to reach your target consumer, try to expand across your local footprint, efficient processes, data, design. Thank you very much. So let's take that specifically more towards Northwest Pennsylvania. So things that you're doing, what things you guys are doing up here as panelists. how does this relate into the growth of overall, so your business, what you're working on? How are you working with? Maybe let's start with Faith.
So one way I feel like there's Heart is going to be contributing to that, I guess you can say through two good programs. So one being the airplanes. With the airplanes, whenever we do get the greenhouse, we're going to mark them, do the harvesting, and everything like that. But more importantly, we want to seek grants and funding to employ children, not children, but youth in the local schools, the local city schools specifically. So have a series of step programs where they can come in, they can learn how to plan it, learn how everything works. After they graduate that program, they go to another program where they can start teaching the younger kids different life skills and working the markets and networking and running food stands and stuff like that. So I feel like my contribution would be bringing these people in, teaching them life skills that they can use every day. Helping people stay out of trouble and just stay
Great. Does anyone else want to put in their 2 cents on how they're working with
I'd like to add, well, I have 2 points with the question. The first one is maintaining a solid growth for the future from a community standpoint and then from a business standpoint. So the first one, I think from a community standpoint, one of the main things I see is definitely diversity. It's very, very important in collaboration and as a community, as a whole community, to work together and hand in hand. This is definitely a very, very strong point, I think, to maintain or grow into a solid growth future. The other thing is definitely adding up to your point is for the grants and investment, definitely invest in your that's one of the biggest points. And I'm seeing, as I'm talking, I have been fortunate enough to be introduced to a lot of the people in that field, and things are going really great. But definitely investing in young bright talents is very, very important. From the business, the second point, from a business standpoint, definitely ensuring customer success and bringing value to the table. That's how I personally, and it's one of the company's core values is compensation, and everything is based purely on ensuring customer success. So by bringing value and helping others, that's how I see growth, because it goes hand in hand together. And bringing value to the table, as well as commitment to actually continuous improvement to the product, to the customers, to the market itself, innovate and continue growing from there. That's absolutely a strong key point to getting a solid growth.
Thank you very much. Ali, you said you need to invest in bright young talent. I have a quick show of hands to the panelists sitting up there. Feels like they're being invested in right now. Great. David, can you talk to me about that?
Absolutely. So I've had a lot of help from a bunch of different areas. Dr. Gold over at the SEA at Slippery Rock University, Sustainable Enterprise Accelerator. They worked with me for the past 4 years on just building fundamental basics for actually establishing the business. I came up with the idea, but they're really the ones that have helped me set it up so that someone can actually go and buy the products. So that's been a major help. Something additionally that has helped with growth, as a music education major and teacher educator in the area, the music community is super connected. And so this past spring, I was at the Music Educators Association and sharing a booth with the Slippery Rock University for my business, being able to connect with all these educators across the entire state, making those personal connections that is going to be the investment for growth over the long term. So you have people who
respect you and understand what your product is so that they can recommend it to the students that they have. Coming in their students every single year, new students to replace the previous customers. Okay. Anyone else want to share how they feel about the festival?
So my senior year of high school, years ago, it was the first time in Pennsylvania's existence that there was an entrepreneurship academy, an institution being created for high school seniors in multiple districts. And in that academy, the city of Hirt especially was very connected. The intent to give the students everything that they could possibly need to make anything possible. Founders of the academy, they had a dream to plant seeds in our youth. Hopes that one day those seeds will grow into trees and revitalize our community. And I mean, I was part of the first class to graduate from the academy. And well, so many things, the biggest things that it teaches the students at a young age is critical thinking, skill development, business, and just teamwork. Because it's nothing more imperative than the ability to work with others. This world is not just about yourself. There's almost 8 billion other people on this planet. But teaching students that being able to work with diversity and in different situations is a very strong characteristic to have. And actually, it brings me great joy to say, by the end of this year, entrepreneurship academy will build the requirements to replicate this model. So now other states and other counties will use that same program. And I think that's truly what our region needs. We don't need to invest what's occurring. What we need to invest with is going to be. There's a Chinese proverb that says, the best time to plant trees 20 years ago, and the second best time is now. I think that is a very relatable quote.
Very nice. Very nice. So, go ahead, Adam.
I wanted to say, Dr. Golden and the SEA and Slippery Rock, they rock and roll. I mean, since leaving and then coming back and seeing what's been built there and how much that's supported so many businesses, I think that maybe if more colleges built accelerators to build these little communities to help each other out, because all these guys are talking to each other. I mean, it's amazing. So I mean, I think Slippery Rock is awesome. They're doing that at like CMU. They're doing that at NYU. They're doing that at like very big, substantial colleges. So to see that in the smaller community and how it's helping, I think it's awesome. So I think that's it.
So I just couldn't pass without pointing out and thank so much my friend and great mentor, Brian Slade, since he moved to Erie. He definitely his effort into investing into all the entrepreneurs and pretty much all the entrepreneurs together. So that's absolutely appreciated. Innovation Collaborative as well, and their effort. And my favorite business consultant, Amanda. She's there and she's been a great mentor and helper as well throughout the journey. So that's definitely great effort in this community on my part.
So I hear there's 2 ways to invest in very young time. And I think one of our first lessons learned here is in order to ensure growth, we need to invest in the people. There's 2 ways to invest. I think one is through education, through mentoring, through establishing centers of excellence where we collaborate. 2 would actually be to here's some money. Now go through. So has anyone received funding money at this point in time? Upfront, you can talk about that experience and just walk us through a high level what that looks like.
Well, I've received like this. First one was the showcase with the Innovation Collaborative. Also, that's the second one. But we presented as well at the Erie Insurance Arena, and we came second place. There was a student project. We received a 2,500 grant. That definitely did some difference at that time. And the first time was from Jim's grant through the Erie Technology Incubator, Small Business Development Center, as well as the Ranking Technology Partners. and received a little bit under $9,000 as an investment, and I just pushed through. And after going through planning and going really through an investment round is a whole different experience. It takes twice time, it takes twice effort, and there are things that has to be going solid from a planning standpoint, from clearance and communication, from just learning through it and going through it for the first, second, or third time is really the key. It's an interesting experience because I always believe and hear about it online and watch all these speakers talk and all that, and I haven't got really an actual clue what is it like until I personally do it. So it definitely takes twice as time, twice as effort, and keep in mind that clear communication and solid, clear business plan is always important to go through it. And just believe there are people there who are actually there to help you out, and just be open to that, and that's a good experience.
Great, thanks for sharing. Lance and Dorothy, so these panelists have some who have access to local universities and taking advantage of that. Can you talk to us about what's going on in Butler and the community for entrepreneurs and helping facilitate that conversation, or lack thereof potentially?
I'd say there's probably a lack thereof, but we're working on. There's actually, I was invited to be on an entrepreneurial committee started by Butler County Chamber of Commerce, and we're now working together with a lot of important people, Dr. Powers on it, and they're trying to create an incubator somewhere in the Butler area, Saxonburg area, if you're familiar with that area. That having to do with the same thing you guys are doing up here, but they're doing in Newcastle, just to try to create an atmosphere to where it's inviting for entrepreneurs to come in. At this point right now, I would say it's more of a challenge because there's not much help. We do have the SBA down in the Chamber of Commerce building, but like I said, it's not really inviting for entrepreneurs to open up a business in the Butler County area.
That's neat. Do you feel connected to your in this entrepreneurial ecosystem?
I would say there's, I'd say anything.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's distance or if it's or what it is, but I don't know. I think there is a disconnect between Erie and then the rest of southern northern Pennsylvania region. But I can exactly tell you what that disconnect is. But I think we like there's a disconnect.
Okay. That's a good point. I think another point I take home is to connect other dots across the region. Dorothy, how many people in Butler do you think would take advantage of these opportunities that seem to be almost no experience right now?
We actually have a ton of friends that we know that want to take the leap to start businesses, but they're terrified because they don't know, how am I going to get money? Where am I going to go? How am I going to learn what to do? I don't even know how to manage my own checkbook, let alone my businesses. So I think that's kind of a big thing for people. Because if you don't know how to lead a business, it's not going to work out. So I feel like something that would invite people in, show them what they need to do, or at least support them, support their ideas, maybe to give them new ideas of more successful.
All right.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
I just want to say something that's really great that's going on in Erie, because we keep talking about how we're getting connected through our education systems and everything. And I'm actually working with somebody on Parkway right now, and she's a little bit older. And what I've noticed in Erie is there's also a lot of resources for people that didn't go through the traditional education system. There's a lot of like the SBDC through Munich where you can build your business plan, because having a strong business plan is just so crucial to any business. I mean, it's your strategy, your marketing, it's everything. So that's one good thing that Erie has is we're kind of building like an ecosystem for entrepreneurs, and it's not just for the young millennials. It's for anybody with an idea. The idea that we have is going in for a patent right now, and somebody stepped up and they're funding going. So I just wanted to say, that's something if you are, you didn't go through the traditional education system, and you're scared, you don't know what to do, you don't know about the financial marketing, there are resources out there. Just go to the SBPC.
So let's segue here a little bit. You brought up a good point, right? Your friends are a little terrified, right? I'm sure everyone gets scared of taking on a new risk, right? Especially something that is so through that process, right, you decided you want to do this. It's time to move forward. We talk a little bit about any major failures, complete blunders that you comfortable sharing, and more on the other point, any big success stories that you came across, whether they be lucky or paid off. Anyone want to jump in on the biggest failure? Go ahead.
Sure. So my biggest failure also led to my biggest success. As a freshman in college, I knew what the process, I knew what I wanted at the end, and I didn't know who to turn to, and I didn't know very much, so I decided on a lot myself at first, before getting in contact with the SEA. But the biggest thing was just going through all of these really terrible prototypes, the actual product, and just not knowing where to turn, and working with the SEA, having another person, multiple people to talk to, that discover things that are available to the development of the current product, which is also a great success. It's whenever I felt I have this thing now, and it actually works, and I can sell it. So it was the failure that led to success. Anyone else want to throw in stuff?
Yeah. So it's kind of a funny thing. I look back at it and laugh. The very first time when I started putting all the concepts for Metalva and everything, and trying to map things out, and even before the platform was out, we created this campaign and we uploaded to Indie Google, right? So I did mention at the beginning this whole idea came from a personal experience. So I told my whoever was the interaction or the whole reason for with the landlord I had experience with, and I went to him. I asked him for money. I was like, here. Yeah, I wanted you to sign up for it, and I haven't even had a website. Like I don't know what I was thinking. If I look back at it, I don't know what I was thinking, but I look back at it and I laugh. It cracks me up. It's funny, I think. And just looking back, that was failure. That was failure. And I try to call everything failure. If I look down here and I put that little sticks, I would call it I failed. And the reason I call it that is I'm trying to call everything failure. Just kind of really get the power of it. It's quite scary. Everybody talks about it. Everybody is afraid to fail. But if I sat down, I talked about it with one of my mentors, and I was like, this is really bad. And he was like, well, start calling everything failure. I failed in walking distance. I failed when I hit the table and loudly. I failed at everything, and then slowly I noticed that it worked for me. It was kind of taking the power away from the word failure. So it's terrifying. It's funny. It's some mixed feelings and emotions, but failure is part of the deal. It's part of the deal.
There is part of the deal like that. So let's talk about failure. Let's talk about Jason onto this one actually. How is Northwest Pennsylvania failing and ensuring a solid growth going
that was the one I was reading. I think maybe to what was talked about earlier. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, I'm primarily in Pittsburgh now, and it's thriving there. It's really going nuts. I mean, you have Uber and their self-driving cars. You have the robotics technology lab in Lawrenceville. East Liberty's going nuts. Downtown's going crazy. Everybody's connected and talking to each other in different co-working spaces. Co-working is growing substantially. There's a really vibrant community, and all our different co-working spaces, we all talk and hang out with different places. It's kind of become a co-working space here. So I think that, I mean, and believe it or not, those co-working spaces are awesome because it's bringing in huge, really diverse talent base, and everybody meets each other, and there's everybody from like illustrators to developers to marketers to and anything you can think of, and all these people are distributed, working in. This guy's working in Silicon Valley. This guy's working in Silicon Alley. This guy's working in DC. This guy's working in Chicago. These guys are based in Pittsburgh, and then it creates this huge network. You know, it's not centralized in just Pittsburgh. So if that's not happening here, then I would say that that's a huge catalyst because it brings in people from all over the country in just these centralized places, and it just generates business out of those co-working spaces. So if that's not happening, or if there's not collaboration between, let's say, Pittsburgh and Erie, I mean, that would be huge.
Can I add one thing? That's a great point. And being in Erie, and I'm located in Erie, I really think this is all exists. It could be on a smaller scale because Erie is not as big as Pittsburgh. But with Radius Co-working Place and Innovation Collaborative and other organizations, really are bringing people all together. Now, one thing I also noticed really became, and I speak for myself, but I believe it really became a point of attraction for people from outside to come here. And I start seeing trends in that, starting from my business partners, starting from a few people I know came from outside of town for this conference right here. Starting from people who I know have moved into Erie and starting to grow. And I think it's going in the same direction as Pittsburgh. It just happens to be on a smaller scale, very smaller scale. And I'm excited to see if we can grow more.
Good question. So how, I mean, I feel like technology is growing everything at hyper speed. So it's depending on how quickly, you know, Pittsburgh is obviously really forward right now. And I know that really good, you know, the colleges have put for sort of like, what should that, but there's like economic incentive to stay in Pittsburgh after you graduate. So then you have all these people that are graduating from CMU and all these different, there's a ton of really good schools down there. And they don't need to stay there and then innovate amongst themselves. I don't know if there's any like economic advantages here for like recent graduates to stay. Maybe it's a tax incentive, maybe it's some sort of, you know, write-off on college loans or something. But Pittsburgh has that, and I know, I mean, they passed that maybe like 10 years ago or something. And that's, I feel like that's one of the catalysts that's grown them so technologically.
Well, I believe there are, and I'm not very familiar with that, but according to what I heard, there are this public services experience if you write off for college debt, you work there for 2 years. There are boost programs, and correct. But it's better than, in my opinion, better than keep paying for 20 years or 15 years on the road. Other than that, all the activities where all the organizations are coming together. There are 4 universities in here, Yale University, Mercedes, Edinburgh, and Minnesota. They all are working collaboratively together, so that's something I really think is positive. They start empowering all entrepreneurs in Erie and surrounding areas. It definitely is not comparable in scale and size to Pittsburgh, but I see it heading in that direction.
But what about tax incentives? So as a case in point, right? So my LLC was actually started in New York. So New York had a 10-year tax-free period. 10 years tax-free, that's awesome. So that's how like Silicon Alley really started becoming a prominence over the past 4 or 5 years because they have this tax incentive to be 10 years tax-free. And or can't you do that here? Or do they do that? If they do, they should. If they don't, they should.
I know there are programs where it gives you around $100,000 in tax breaks, and I attended one of the seminars back early this year. I'm not very familiar. The requirements are definitely not like New York.
They need to be. If they want to get people.
How can we get it there?
I don't know. Who does the taxes here? No, it wasn't through. Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
To
Oh,
my
I thought it was just
understanding, it has to be associated with school. Don't you have to be affiliated with any university or school to be able to get that tax break?
If you have
So it's a good conversation before we get too far down. The main takeaway is financial incentive to stay where you start your business. More importantly, you graduate from a university that's local. You get brought up. So you brought up through that development. You actually don't start your business. Are you actually staying in your business, or are you taking that education and that knowledge and resources that you gather and then moving out? You're staying. All right, we got one. Good. If there's anyone, we can Q&A with the audience. If there's anyone that can speak a little bit more about tax incentives, but what I want to do before we go into Q&A is with the audience, just talk a little bit more about the millennial aspect of our business. Just to case. What we've got about an hour left. So one question I want to put out there is, do you believe is it easier or harder to be an entrepreneur as a millennial? And let's start off with.
So I definitely believe that you're either like hard to be an entrepreneur, didn't love what you're doing. So this past summer I spent hundreds of hours just researching into an idea, but I didn't find it as a task or a burden because I enjoyed the content of the So I strongly feel once you can find action in what you want to do, then being an entrepreneur can be easy. But it also comes with so many things. Your schedule, meeting, I have to build a team. There's a lot of complex things that can go into it. But at the end of the day, if you're not passionate about what you do, just be able.
So when you're going out and meeting these people as a millennial, you have the same amount of respect as
Not always.
how do you deal with that?
Just the way I deal with it, like I was saying about earlier, it's probably law of attraction. I just try to approach it every situation with attitude. If they don't like me or they don't think that I'm good enough because I'm too young, then that's their mistake. There are those people that they do see based on talent in you, and that's those people. second part. Anyone else want to take that? Receptionist and audio in style world.
I want to say it's hardly easy. It's hardly easy.
You have to explain that.
So what I mean by that is, it's not easy starting a business or owning your own business. It's not easy. It will never be easy, but that's the point. And kind of just going through it, learn as you go, and just do what you believe in. If you do believe you bring the value, you do believe that you're in it to help people. And I think that's really the core thing of being an entrepreneur. It really goes down to a point where any entrepreneur is meant to be to help people. And entrepreneurship is kind of the drive of human race. That's why we don't know the kids, but that's the drive of human race. And just going through it, it's not easy, but it's something. If you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. And I would rather, personally, I would rather build my own destiny than just giving it to someone else.
Speeding up at a crazy rate. And today, I hold this in my hand. And when I think about the question, anything I could possibly think of, there's an answer. Somebody thought about that. It's out there. So there's no reason in this world to be ignorant to facts. Everything that you possibly want is actually reasons. And being an entrepreneur in this age, I think that it's never been easier to access the information that it would bring, be able to reach out to those organizations or to find those statistics that make that investment. Although entrepreneurship can be hard, this time it can also be very easy. Utilization of technology. I think the best answer is that it's just different from what it used to be. Obviously, as a millennial, my life growing up has been very different than those in previous generations. Access to technology and information. It's also one way that it can almost hinder you. There's so much information. You have to be able to filter it out and understand, take what you need, and leave the rest behind. It's a process of just having so many hands in the pot, per se. You can find information to support anything online. It's about taking that information and then figuring out what you need to do with it. It needs to be serving a purpose. Is your product fixing a problem? Is your service that you're providing something that is raising the standard or changing something so that it's more effective? So I think at this point, it's easier to get into it by finding what the gaps are, but then you have to have that next level where you understand and take that information and make it beneficial. It's just information. It's not. Right.
So to the point about the information at your fingertips, it's literally my job to manipulate that. So I wouldn't believe everything that you read online. So the second thing is, I think it's so tough with this. I think the word entrepreneur is so easily tossed out there just because. If you can't stand on your own 2 feet and sustain yourself, then, everybody and their mothers started businesses now. But how many are making money at some point to stand on their own? What are they providing that is allowing them to be sustainable, 1, and then 2, to grow that business and support people that they can hire, and then their customer base. If you can't do that, then I can't see that turn An entrepreneur, I feel, is somebody that is risk averse enough and smart enough to build something that's sustainable, that helps the community, the customer base, and themselves, and to grow that. And it's really hard. It's really hard, and it never ends. So, like, to say it's easy, no offense, man, but holy smokes, dude. Hopefully, one of the hardest things you can do and make it successful and continue to get better. Always, never end. Really passionate about that one, sorry.
No, let's keep going with that. So it's one thing if the region can say on a stat sheet that 1,000 small businesses were created last year, but it really doesn't mean anything unless that next stat sheet next year is saying 60, 70% of those, right? So laddering up into that conversation is a point of conversation. So there's a lot of passion and believing in our movement, right? There's a balancing act with the bottom line. Where have some of you had to make sacrifices, whether it's bottom line or whether it's belief in your journey? Very good.
But I think with being in early farming, you know, a lot of times when we go to investors, they're, you know, what's your profit, what's your profit. And sometimes it's more like the service occupation. You're not always going to make the most money being an early farmer. I know that. I'm not going to be rich from millionaire being an early farmer. So I think with me, I do have to sacrifice some of that financial stability that I might be able to get by starting another business. But I feel like the purpose of the farm is serving the greater good of the community. So to me, that's what
All right. So I want to do a lot of conversation. I want to go back and focus the remainder conversation directly on the topic of what must we do across the region to ensure a solid growth plan. So the last exercise I'd like to do with panelists before we do Q&A is just go down the line and we'll just do a scenario. If someone from Northwest Pennsylvania that's an entity trying to help grow your small business, they called you one day on the phone, make an offer you one service, one bit of information, one thing to help you accelerate your business goals, what would that be? So think of the current struggles you're facing. What are those resources that you need that community or region can offer your small business right now that will help make a difference of that sustainability? Do you want to start with that one or you want to go on? Jason, start with you.
I think that right now, I mean, if you're asking the service that would help us the most.
Saying if there's a region, call you on the phone and say, we'd like to help you grow your business. Because we believe we can help grow the region. We'd like to offer you help or service. What would that look like?
Well, I mean, for us, and you know, my background is in marketing technology, not as much on the financial end. So we have how our financials are set up. It's, you know, it's like all automated, automated bookkeeping, automated this, automated that. And that was a grind to figure out, but still, like, I think the taxes and everything, really understanding that portion is that would be.
Okay. So what I heard is if you had before you went to that grind, education on here's tax incentives, here's how you can facilitate your financials, make sure that side of the business was up and running. It would have been helpful.
Yeah, it would have been a lot more. Yeah, it would have made things a lot more efficient.
I think because I'm still in the beginning stages of building the farm, that I haven't really hit too many roadblocks. Everybody has been really helping to help me, offer their advice. I would need one thing it would just kind of be a miracle to magically wave one and have everybody change their habits. Because getting people to change their lifestyle is going to be my biggest roadblock. I haven't hit that yet, but it's in my near future. So getting people to, you know, take a step back and just run to the store, like I said, buying cookies and just, you know, eating quick meals and learning how to prepare their food and grow their food and invest in their health again. I think we stray away from that as a society and trying to bring people back is going to be aspects.
Great. So I'm going to split it two ways. One of the biggest incentives would be to have capital resources available. Where I'm at right now in the business is sort of like a pathway. I'm not sure which direction I need to go. As it grows, finding more customers, just having the capital resources to market the product and create community around the business that's similar, that would require having education specifically because the target market would be within the public schools, universities. A big part of my business success is having it marketed through bands that people look at and looking at. If you're looking at the bands, you look at competition bands. Right now, it's very area to having maybe putting the environment that is focused on students and whatever it is like that is the equipment that helps those students. And so that's sort of an environment where school systems pushing for their students to receive the best equipment possible to really good environment. And on top of that is just having incentive to create this basically as a wide stay here, including educational tax incentive.
So earlier this summer, I was working with the city of Carroll, and so what they wanted to do is create a workspace for entrepreneurs to work out of. Specifically, they wanted to do this with shipping containers for office space. And what that would do is serve pretty to local entrepreneurs just in the city of Carroll to work out something that's on their house. Because each one of these individuals, they had their own business they're making, but they didn't have an EIN number, business plan, they didn't have any of the actual business aspects to a company. And I think one of the biggest things that we do as a region is being readily available. All of these business development tools and organizations that are already out there that need them widely. Because people in Greenville, they don't know that there's well over 10 angel investment groups in this area within 10 miles. You know, there's so much in this small area in northwestern PA that is there to assist people like us in this people who have ideas that they're passionate about. They just simply don't know. So raising awareness among the masses.
First answer would be finding an excellent team. That's number one. Tax incentive definitely is number two. And then public capital comes last.
How do you just talk about the team real quickly in terms of development?
So
people that obviously help you with this way.
So finding an excellent team is an easy and hard thing at the same time. And I'm speaking because I'm in Erie. And I live here, that's over here, my business is here. Finding a team, Erie is small, everybody's connected. It's easily to kind of dive in the community and find what you look for. But it doesn't have as much number of talents like Pittsburgh, for example, because it happens to be just a smaller scale. So finding a really excellent team is very tricky, and it's important. I think it comes number one that some team works together very well. They produce and they're more productive than anything else. Tax incentive is definitely, I think, everybody agrees on it. And then capital is choose it all, as well as sales choose it all. Right? I would say, like we were saying earlier, I feel like Butler and South Erie and connected dots. The lack of communication with different government agencies. There's so many groups set up that are working towards the same goal that we're just kind of stepping on each other's feet, where there's someone that's already done what you're trying to do. So the lack of communication is really hindering our progress. And okay, thank you very much.
I'm actually going to build on the communication in a different way. I think a huge thing is too the communication between millennials and baby boomers. I feel like trying to maybe not necessarily convince this different generation that what your ideas are good or you need to be successful, but getting them on board with what you're doing and what they're doing. So if you don't have that communication or that connection with them, you're not going to get anywhere because it's going to be you're on this side of the street and they're on that side of the street, and you're not going to get anywhere. So I think it's really, really, really important to try to somehow connect whatever your millennial business is or whatever your business is with what these baby boomers are doing. Because half the time these baby boomers, they've been given their business from the generation before them and the generation before them. So they're just kind of in this because it's just what they know how to do, where millennials are, we have these crazy fun ideas, we want to get our towns back together and do these fun things, but sometimes people think we're crazy. So I think just that communication too is very, very important.
Thank you for your answer. That's great. All right, so that sums up the questions that I have. At this time, I want to take about 15, 20 minutes to take any questions from the audience may have. So for the audience, usage of the public library through the startup process.
I use it all the time to just spread books on sustainability. So pretty much using it as, not too much internet, so especially when you have a little one, it's so easy to go there. Yeah, not at all.
I mean,
Well, if I can find the library that has the involved, I can find a tool that has the involved, but not the read, fine. You have that idea of
I think makes the case for.
Yeah.
So I make sure we're going that direction. Sure. So the question is, do events like this, these types of panels and information sessions happen regularly? I would say you should contact Zimmer right after this, and she will connect you to make sure that you're on lots of different, distributions. The answer is yes, absolutely. I think there are a lot of groups within Erie with the same mission, and we're doing a better job at starting to talk together and more and share the vision. But sometimes that gets lost in translation. So connecting with that, and I would say anyone at the end of this that heads an innovation collaborative, that's where their mission is. Hopefully I'm doing that justice right now, but it's really connecting all these different these entities trying to help startups and entrepreneurs for the greater good of growing, sustaining the areas and facilitate our for the overall ecosystem. 100%. Sir.
I have X miles to school. I have dropped it off. I need the income. I can't take it. I have dropped it off.
I'd say biggest thing for myself being very young, something really set me apart from most other people that I surround myself with. So it's finding a mentor, an advisor, so especially just for getting an idea. It's almost validating. Talking to somebody with experience in the field, industry, because they're the ones who know what you're trying to find. So I would, my definitely advice would be find a mentor, find somebody with knowledge in that.
We've been married for 6 years. We have 2 kids. We have a house. We have bills to pay. And like I said earlier, I was like, you're nuts. You're not with me. We have bills to pay. Like, what are you're crazy. And actually, at the time, I couldn't stay at home because with him being in the military, we had that income. So when we got to that point, we decided for now, Lance would still be working while I was running the business. And once we got to the point where Lance could stay at home, that's what we were going to do. So basically, we kind of set up a goal for ourselves. This is what we want to do. This is where we want to be. And then at this time, both of us together will focus 100% on the business. But in the meantime, yeah, we have to take care of ourselves. Or when we first started, we had to take care of ourselves in a way that, we still need to pay our bills. So that was.
To add on to that, I'd say to those people that are skeptical of starting a business right out of college, college debt to pay, I'd say go get that job. Do and I not only run business, I go to school, and I also work full time at the Public Prison. So it's all about the grind. You have to put in the hustle, you got to put in the work. If you're really passionate about something, you're going to go out there and you're going to go do it. You find time to do it. So I feel like that's a very important professional trait. Also, as an entrepreneur, is time management. You have to manage your time, or you're going to go.
Thank you.
I was really quick, can I say, risk tolerance is a muscle. And the more you train it, crystal water, it really is. I look at it that way. You work with it, you test your water, you test your tolerance level, and then work with it. I really think it could taking the wheel for it. Yes, sir.
What I was going to say is, what she was saying down there was goal setting is a major component for somebody that has to do day and after working pay your bills. Coming up with a business plan and if you know exactly where you need your business to be in order for you to take that next step and maybe quit your job and then dive right into it. I think some people, whenever they start their business, they just have a good idea, they're going for it and figure it out, along the way. But knowing where each step, what you have to take to get to a certain point, so you can't get to that spot. Like starting this, I have a child, went to school, work. I mean, it's definitely a lot of late nights, stress, fears, that. But having a business plan and just setting those results.
Sir. Congratulations on all of your entrepreneurial journey thus far. I feel like you are all great. So I know you did each had a touch on some of these questions. Your journey thus far. What were the resources most important in smart? And the flip side, what are the kind of resources we have access to? What's important in the company are I'll start off. So one of the biggest things that kind of really set me on the path of really taking on the work with, like I just said before, was my perception. Is what you tell yourself is what thoughts that you say in your mind. It's what you thoughts that you do reality. And I think when you can train your mind to believe what you want it to be, that's powerful. Because now you're creating your future. By determining it before it's even started. So I meditate daily, and one of the things that I really love to do is called visualization and repetition. So I would see a picture of anything, my biggest shaking hand, speakers on the table, and just signed it. I don't know what that is. I can see it. I see it every day. I know it's coming. It's a matter of time, but I see it, and that's the important thing. Once you start seeing it on a current basis, it gets embodied into your subconscious. It is now a part of the questions that you pick up, slots that you appended into your website. So in terms of workload, right now I'm a full-time student. I have 8 classes, I have 3 jobs, I mentor 2 entrepreneurs, and I'm a sophomore in college. I meet people. But in order to achieve all that, it is absolutely imperative to master the art of time management. I played football at team college last year. One of the biggest things I took out of it was writing down hour by hour every day and micromanaging myself. And after working on that for 5 months, I've now perfected the schedule. And that's why I think I'm able to do as much as I can. The biggest point is a mindset, understanding that your thoughts are far more powerful. Yes, so right, so I think what innovation collaborative and Frank from the Marketing Learning Center, what they're doing right now, they said, this area, there are a lot of people saying everybody wants to help people in our community succeed because, I mean, let's be real, our economy isn't the greatest and it's not on a very bright path. But in order to change that, we have to establish a network that makes it possible. And So I guess my answer is organizations such as an Innovation Collaborative, what they're doing is to be different, to do more, start bringing in more people. Once more people start coming in, and that's when the fun starts. Because now you have all these creative minds together, thinking about different ways. When entrepreneurs gather, there are a lot of possibilities that can come out of it, but it's just a matter of getting those done.
What resources help us? What resources?
So, personally, with our situation, I feel like it would have been super helpful to have the community, like the businesses communities come in and support us. We have a lot of new businesses coming down for downtown. We have breweries, restaurants, a couple of hotel that's coming in, new parking garage. So we have people that want to help, but not everyone's on board, and I feel like it's just because there's a disconnect. So I wish there was a way. I feel like a great resource would be our town to somehow get everyone together, whether it's like monthly or quarterly, to go over what's going on in our town and what we as a town can do better. Like,
I don't think they really reach out. We're just like there.
Do you want to talk about
I think, I mean, other counties, Chamber of Commerce is very active, but like you said, I think the Millennials are kind of, it's one of those organizations that you gotta be invited to. It's, but I do think,
Yeah, here's an example. If you're a member of Raymond, you're a member of the or you're a member of the automatically a member of the chamber. And you bring your millennial energy, mix with those people who are more established in business, create those relationships, it's free. And in a year, if you don't have any value, you'll have to change. But if you create value and you find relationships, what should we get?
Capital. I really think that's the main source, the people in town and just, capital. Okay. That's the one thing I would say.
I'll jump in and go back to your original question. If you were asking what resources have we used in the city of Erie, I've used quite a bit of resources. I started with the Innovation Commons at Barrett. And from there, I've worked with Jonathan Silva from Intellectual Property. I've seen Brian Slaywood. I've been Bridgewood Capital. I'm working with somebody, Rob Allen from Texas. And the great thing about being that that's some classes at the in SPDC. So the good thing about all of these resources, like I said earlier, is even if somebody can't help you, they're more than willing to point you in the direction of somebody that, which is really great about, like I said, the system that's kind of theory, but there definitely are a lot of different resources from financial needs to business plan setting, even people that can help with goal setting and things like that. But I've pretty much touched on a lot of different resources that we have. They all are great.
That's right.
There's a lot to our community where the community sectors, the entrepreneurial community sectors, and what we see out there on the streets. There is a lot.
I think there's a lot of untapped talent. And I think a lot of people don't realize that they are able to take an idea and turn it into reality. But I think that's a point where we're kind of almost like a tipping point. Something with your spots that I want to do is be able to help people understand that they don't just have to go to
Because the first one,
I just think, like in inner cities,
10 after 12.
we're not
Let's start
investing
with
enough
the next
into
one.
the inner cities.
So
And so
1:30 to
we're into the
3:30 is
schools,
sort of,
I
I
should
think.
say. And,
So the next
they
one's
don't realize their potential. And I think that is kind of creating a barrier. If we can break into that and, start these smaller businesses in Erie, we can invest in these areas and help these people realize that, they can too.
There's a comment about awareness of all the issues that are here. How are you finding that out? Today, what website, what organization? How do you find out?
Just networking. Go to the different events that they have, go to one person, they'll kind of tell you about another resource and making it encourage them.
There's things like meetups, meetup.com.
So-
There's one every night. Okay, question, what's the most efficient way for all the resources that I know are here? It's not fixed. A lot of them. Where
What's that? Wow. Yeah, thank you.
So real quick, I just wanted to say, the Innovation Collaborative has published what we call the Ecosystem Asset Map, and it's for all 8 counties in Northwest Pennsylvania. It's available on our website. We're in the midst of updating it, so we don't have hard copies for you today. It's extremely overwhelming how many resources are in the 8 counties in Northwest Pennsylvania that exist in full or in part to support entrepreneurs. So that ecosystem map exists. It's phenomenal. However, to navigate that map is a challenge because there are so many resources, and that's why organizations like the Innovation Cloud, Ben Franklin, the SPDC exist to be able to help you navigate. So once you go to the website or you get a hold of that asset map, you look at that, you find one of us, and we're happy to get you to the channels where you need to be.
That's what we're supposed to step in and say, oh, okay, we can. That's right, that is, they're going to see how many organizations exist, how boards, helps to guide.
Or even, do you guys even know what people are actually looking for as far as resources? Has anybody said that, hey, what are people actually looking instead of just compounding a whole ton of resources on a thing? Is that?
We put together a website in Pittsburgh. It's called launchpgh.com.
Oh, yeah.
And the URA is the sponsor. And I said, I'll get together one position. Put it together, not what city you're at, what, but what entrepreneurs want.
Create a keyword list of all of the core categories, do your plus search
Here's
results.
places you can see money, here's places, there's co-working spaces, here's Cambridge County. You see the criteria on there's tax credits, tax incentives, everything goes on to this is outline. So all of the whole source or resources, one place, kind of value. So I think simplify what categorize resources up here. With no
Yeah, and that could almost be, if you built like a portal, like a localized Erie portal, then, that would basically support all the different businesses that, you find.
How do you say? University, they're all trying to reach more home centers rather than having centers with and to fulfill all the needs. We have any university other, but you have to do that. You don't need like but you have to do this. We gotta take out who has a 3D printer build that depending on where we're not.
From a broad standpoint, though, how is somebody going to find that information? Ask who? Who are you going to ask? Google. You're going to ask Google. And or the librarian does.
One of the problems when I see that vendors all the time, and they don't know any of these things exist. And nobody ever told them. You have to eventually find me, they can find my marketing. But basically, you can there's even more basic education schools, universities, all is that when you go to school, you're taught to be a worker. You go to university, you're taught to be a degree. You're not taught to be that in practical application, what we're doing in the real world, because we assume that your business and your job will teach you what our practical skills. I'm an engineer by trade. I didn't know squat about my job until the day I started working. They told me something I was trained. But I was trained in the way of thinking, not in the way of actually doing the job. So really the question becomes, do we want to invest time every year in each of our schools going to schools and say, hey, students, you're going to college. While you're going to college, understand that these resources are available in this community. And if you ever decide that you want to start your business, this is the Innovation Collaborative, there's Ben Franklin, here are the things that you watch out. Same thing in university. I'm not trying to do it for the common language. But the message needs to get out there. Absolutely where I think you want a long-term strategy. The rest of the day, you're a senior, you graduate, go out to school, and do it. That's really to get people to learn what things exist. Otherwise, you have an idea eventually to find somebody in that organization. That's not the day.
I'll say that, the innovation fund in the John is 2 years old. We spend over $100,000 a year in marketing the fact that the ecosystem and the support system exists. Because historically that had not been done, and John's right, nobody knew that there were support resources available for entrepreneurs. So now, as time goes on, we continue marketing this on behalf of all of the ecosystem providers and the entrepreneurs. More and more people are going to know, oh, right, okay, I've got an idea on an app, and I can go talk to Amanda, I can go talk to John, I can go talk to Brian, whatever. They know that there's all of that takes time to get to a certain end of the way. And the support that we all can provide to broaden impact across all 8 counties in Western Pennsylvania, that's our ultimate goal. These things just take time.
So coming up here in a couple minutes left. Anyone else has?
I do want to add one thing. I was listening the whole time and it was kind of overwhelmed because I really think Erie is really, really rich in resources. And for the past 2 years, every single time I come across a different stage or move on, I could direct it immediately to where to go, who to talk to, and what to see next. And as everybody's talking, I have not personally experienced that vision because I feel like it's out there for everybody to find it. So that was kind of what I wanted to add.
Sure. So with success happening, but there's others that are taking advantage. Like, how do we create that awareness and find some individuals that have the drive and passion? That's good. What can I do this business?
I just wonder from those who are from have, expert that today have traditional areas that those entrepreneurs are not experts in. They have very little experience in this. The passion, idea that will, something. So do you that still the traditional as well as how do
You want to take one, sir?
Those investors want to see slide back. Thank you for somebody 5 years. This is what I'm working on. So, sorry, who is what's my market? What's my market?
I kind of want to add one thing. I mean, we're looking for a business plan, and exactly what you said, it's an internal document for me personally to put my thoughts down, to map out where I'm going to navigate through this whole business thing. Or going forward to pitch for investors, I think I look at it as a whole different document. It's dedicated to this investment, or it's dedicated to whoever you pitch to. For business plan, I think as soon as you write it down, it's out here. So it's just to pull it, gather your own thoughts, we've done well, and then forward from there. And you'll find yourself frequently going back and trying to figure out what I'm doing, am I reading this, am I not reading this, and then update it. This is what you start with your initial assumption.
So follow up on that. But I see a lot of times, my clients is that process is more organizational constantly. A lot of times, in a lot of other areas, I'm not sure order in which we should
I actually have my bachelor's degree in business, so for me, I was like, because this is what we're not going to work what we're doing. But we actually, Lance and I both on the economic reconstruction committee for Butler. Basically, what they're doing is they're trying to get other businesses to come over to town. Obviously, one of the tasks they want to do is, like you were saying, not a lot of people know about business plans or what they entail. So Lance and I actually are committed to the entire process. So during our time building our business, because we have a brick and mortar, we actually wrote down everything that we did, what our business plan was, but then we also kind of are outlining everything for other people so they know, okay, this is a business plan, these are the steps I need to take. After I do this, these are the people I need to talk to get our permits and codes. These are the people I need to talk to market. So we're trying to, we're trying to help other businesses do that and get this information for them so they know what the right steps are to take.
Just kidding. All right, so we're basically at time. I'll open it up. Any last comments that the panel wants to make? If not, does anyone else have any thoughts or remarks?
I just want to say just a quick thank you to everybody to Bennett and people like Jonathan and Brian from Sierra Cluster Pods for all the people that really go out of their way to help you make all your goals and aspirations that you don't ever know. You come to any of these people with an idea, they are more than willing to help you out. So just thank you for all of your hard work and doing that.
Thank you, everyone, very much for attending. Thank you, panelists, first and foremost. Good luck in your journey.
Real quick,
Yes.
before everybody runs out, if you want to hear more about entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial mindset at 5 o'clock right here today, founder of the Ice House Entrepreneurial Learning Initiative is going to be here doing a community keynote. And it's a lot of things that you guys touched on today. We talked about in more depth, and this guy has done research with over 500 unlikely entrepreneurs across the globe. It's very engaging, inspiring experience. So you're all welcome. It's open to the public, free of charge. So haven't had enough, come back and find.
5 o'clock. All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.